Golf. Fishing Village. We had to get across by ferry. You can see it there. Boy, do they load those ferries up too. You wonder if you're going to make it. Drive the cars on there. They're water buffalo and a huge thing of hay. They were all waiting to get on this ferry. There's the ferry again. Guy waiting on his motorcycle, waiting for everybody to clear out. By the way, you'll notice in the background the cell tower. Everybody uses cell phone. Everybody. They're not the fishing villages. They have landlines, but they don't depend on them too much. And India years ago made a decision to go with cell phone service rather than landlines. So I've told people, I may have mentioned last week to you, if we want to see if cell phones cause brain cancer, let's see in India about 10 years from now, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen there. By the way, they had to back this ox cart onto this ferry, then the car drove on behind it, and the oxen there were not leaking oil. That guy is barefoot, so there you go. They don't worry about it. They must have feet like iron or rubber. They walk on rocks and everything. Don't worry about it. Here we are coming across ready to land on this far side. We're going to go preach at this little church. By the way, the people, this is our guide here, by the way, standing there. His name is Onesimus. If you know your Bibles, Onesimus was a fellow that St. Paul writes to. They all take Christian names when they're baptized. They're born with Hindu names. When they're baptized, they'll often reject that name and take a brand new name. Onesimus means useful one. And Onesimus works for Mrs. Dossery, and he's a driver, he's a mechanic, he fixes the electrical stuff, the plumbing, and I told him, you are truly Onesimus. And he smiled. That was a little bit English. Here we are ready for, that's a new doctor building. We'll be ready about the year 2052. I don't mean to mock the people, by the way. They're very nice people, but they march to a much different drummer than we do. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I just wanted to mention something about Onesimus, because I got to know him last year, and I needed to cross the street.
Oh, they're taking your life in their hands.
And Mrs. Dossery said, no, you can't cross the street. So he parked the car, got out, and he just walked out the street, stopped the traffic here, stopped the traffic here, led me right across this street, because otherwise I would have been run down for sure.
It is a frightening thing to cross the street.
He was a valuable friend.
I think last year I mentioned to you the culture there. There are automobiles everywhere, and motorcycles, and bicycles, and animals, and kids, and adults, all going anywhere they want to. There you go, you never know. They usually don't, what happened here? They usually don't drive at night. Let me find out where I was. Well, why don't you ask some questions while my computer decides what it's going to do.
How is the food over there? How is the food?
The food is very, very, very spicy. I was told last year that many third world countries, especially in the around India, Sri Lanka, places like that, eat lots of heavy spice because it helps. He said it covers up the taste. It helps with your enduring the heat. Apparently, it has something to do with surviving the heat. The food is so hot that the food doesn't affect you anymore. Well, I mean the heat doesn't affect you anymore. I'm sorry about this. I knew this would happen. It worked perfectly yesterday. We'll just have to wait until it gets itself figured out. The food isn't too bad. Eat lots of rice, a lot of, not too much meat. Most of them are vegetarians. When you get meat, it's usually chicken. And they'll take the chicken and lay it on the thing and take a big knife and just chop it in pieces and throw it in a pot and cook it, and there you go. One night, I might mention, we went out to a church that was being dedicated. There were about 400 people there. Everybody in the community showed up. Brand new building for the Bible Faith Lutheran Church. And after the service, they served us a meal. And they slopped a bunch of rice on the plate. And then they put this stuff on there. And I ate it, thought it was pretty good. I asked the guy later, what was that we ate? He said it was chicken organs. I said, I really don't care to know what kind of organs they were. But I'm really sorry about this. He asked who determined where we went and where we preached. Usually you don't know him, well, the bishop of the church over there. Bishop Shalom is his name. By the way, they use the term bishop, not president. Is this thing starting over again? Anyway, they use the terms bishop, we don't here. I might say that they do wear gowns over there, the pastors do. You'll see that in a minute if this thing ever cooperates with me. So yeah, they decide that where to go. I preached 2 Sundays, once at this fishing village, and then once out in another place. Well, if this thing doesn't go, I may have to come back next week. My son Aaron's here. What's happening? I really apologize. 67, boy, here we go. 88. We got another question. Matthew.
What you did for water? Was there a concern about drinking the water?
Yes, there's always a concern about the water. It's full of bacteria. You can't drink it. They have bottled water everywhere,
Okay.
and it's very cheap. Brush your teeth in it, everything. When you take a bath, you've got to make sure, password, don't look. So you got to drink only bottled water. This year I didn't get sick at all, which is great. Last year I did for about 4 hours. I must have gotten a drop of something, I don't know. But you can't eat any of the vegetables, at least we can't, the Americans, unless they're totally cooked. No fresh fruits except bananas, you peel yourself, or oranges perhaps. And then you got to be careful that you don't, when you peel it, touch the fruit with your hands, which may have gotten bacteria from the, I mean, you got to be really careful. The other thing, hey, there I am, back in India again. Let's give this thing another shot, let's see what happens.
Do you have any other safety concerns during the day or at night?
No, although they told us not to take public transportation because Andhra Pradesh, my wife told me this would happen. I want Christmas, what am I doing? Anyway, Matt, to answer your question, water is very dangerous to drink. First year I was there, somebody brushed his teeth with it, forgot, he was sick for 2 days. Okay, here we go. We got off the boat, hopefully this won't do it again, if it does, forget it. Anyway, we got off the boat, and then this is the road we took out to the village where I preached the first Sunday. This thing, you can't see it. I mean, these potholes, some of them are like this. And you're going like 5 miles an hour sometimes, bouncing like this all over the place to get out this village. Now I gotta get this thing. Anyway, this is the church we came to, where I preached at. You notice the loudspeakers up on top. They have this going